Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Apologies for the lateness. You know, it happens sometimes, and we've not been late for a while, so we were kind of due one. So yeah, just another chat log stream. These are pretty fun, especially like with all the kind of catfishing calls, the new stuff that's. I know it's not as the blue boy things are not as prolific as they were, but they're all they're still like everybody's still lapping it up, aren't they? So to go back to the chat log can be quite fun sometimes because you can kind of forget how kind of amazing it is. That's kind of what I've found. Um, so yeah, let's. Oh yeah, hang on a minute. My computer's gone a bit strange. Yeah, do you guys still get something out of the chat log compared to the to the calls and whatnot? Even though it's been done a million times.
I mean, yeah, I still find it shocking. I forget some of the stuff that was included in the chat log, and then I'll see somebody throw out a quote from the chat log in there, and I think, I can't believe he said that. Yeah, I get
I,
something out of it.
I find it interesting because it is well, it's a good evidence that he hasn't changed at all. He's still the same person. He still has the same weird ideas and about relationships, and you substitute a 13-year-old girl for a Winnie or something like that, you're dealing with the same person.
Yeah, do you know what was something occurred to me with regard to the Winnie stuff? Because I've been listening to. I wouldn't say I've been listening to. I can't stand to listen to it for very long, and I'm not interested in getting into a mudslinging affair. That's just my personal preference. It just grates at me far too much. But I can have like 5 minutes at a time. And I've listened to a lot of the highlights. I can't listen to a full call, like some of the stuff that pops up on Raptor Bacon's channel. And something occurred to me, and I'm pretty sure people have come to this conclusion themselves, is that I think Lorne had the greatest amount of feelings. He felt more close. I don't know how to word it really because you can't use normal terminology regarding describing somebody's affection and the trueness of a relationship. But I felt Lorne felt more strongly and more comfortable in love more, shall we say. Let's just talk in Lorne world. Lorne was more in love with Winnie than any of the other catfishes, and in my opinion. And I think it was because she was on his level. That character was on. If Winnie was a real person, that's the only type of person that Lorne would end up with. And he didn't. He saw her
I think
more
it,
as an equal, not even an equal. He felt superior to her.
I think it also had to do with the amount of time spent when he was on
Yeah,
the phone with Lauren all
yeah,
the time, and that's what he wants.
yeah. I disagree with that, Andrew. I think that he hated Winnie when she acted like him. I think he didn't like that at all. Um, I think what drove him, and I agree with you that I think Winnie, and he actually said it, Winnie was his favorite. He didn't say catfish, but girlfriend, is because she was the only one that I recall out of all of the catfish who said "I love you" several times, over and over. Love bombed him, just like, and again, some of them were "I love you" and "I loathe you," but and she was the only person who gave him that. And I don't remember Ramona ever saying that. As a matter of fact, she made a point to say, "I never loved you." I don't remember. I don't think Tiffany did. I'm pretty sure she did. I
I
don't
don't
think
think so.
that. Rhoda might have said it. I don't know. But I think he's the only one that got that reciprocation. Or she's the only one that gave him that reciprocation. That's why I think he loves her. And of course, after the relationship ended, he was with Jamie and everything else. Kept talking fondly about Winnie and how she, you know, um, she really loves him. And Winnie kept on being loyal to him after that, even turning on, I guess, her husband Will or something, I don't know, in favor of Lorne. And Lorne always felt like she was going to be the ace in the hole, kind of like similar to what he felt about with Emma. Again, interestingly enough, they're the same person. But I think that he hated what he saw in Winnie, because he knew that that's what he saw in himself. So
Yeah, I mean, you might be right, dude. I just saw it. I can't remember if there was a specific moment that made me think that. I think, you know what I think it was? I think it was that bit where Lorne was crying, "How could you do this to us?" Do you remember that bit? Like it was like there was a genuine. I felt when I say genuine, right? Let's just be clear. Genuine in Lorne's world. Genuine in Lorne's world isn't genuine. So let's just make that clear. There was a genuine, real affection for her and this real connection from his perspective. That's what I felt, and I was like, "Why is that? This is some crazy character, crazy." And I think that for all her problems, like attracts like, doesn't it? If you look at the other catfishes, Ramona had a decent life with, like, you know, successful friends and all that kind of, the character. Everybody else pretty much had it together, but apart from this person. And I think that made him feel less insecure, even though, of course, he was. What do you think, Amanda James? Are you backing me up at all?
About him feeling like the closest connection to Winnie?
Yeah, because of the type of character she was. That's just the insight that I got.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Shin that I think he hated Winnie, actually. I think he hated
that completely blows my theory there.
Well, it's complicated. She was always cheating, she was always lying, she was always doing drugs. He couldn't trust her for a minute, and he hated that. But she's the one who would be on the phone with him. Even if she was cheating on him, she'd be on the phone while she was doing it.
Right.
And that was somehow very important to him. But also she would indulge in these childish fantasies with him. Like they got married over the phone in Cigarette Alley. What adult person would even entertain that idea? And Winnie had no shame, just like Lorne. She was willing to talk about all the disgusting stuff with him. And in Lorne's mind, that equals closeness. That means you really feel comfortable with each other if you're willing to, do all the nasty stuff that Winnie did.
Yeah, he can do it nasty back too. He's free to do that. But I remember I had a conversation with Emma when she was doing this, and basically what it came down to is she wanted to make the female version of Lorne, and also at the same time see what threshold, how much he can take before he wants to throw her out. Mm-hmm. And she was just testing his limits the entire time, and it was masterful, actually. But yeah, she, again, the female version of Lorne. And again, if you got somebody who's self-loathing, that's the last thing you want to see, right? A female version of you. But
well, that's why.
And somebody just corrected me in the chat. They said that Tiffany or Casey said she loved him. I'm not sure which Casey. You got to talk again. There's so many different Caseys.
Casey number one, and I think
that was Winnie, right? It was Ember, right, when she did that?
It was Tiffany playing Casey. Casey from the TSA call, that Casey. And right. She might have said, I think she actually said, "I love you" in the TSA call, but she was on drugs. Remember, she had been drugged by her dad. So that was her excuse. I don't think she said it frequently. Actually, I remember a call where Lorne was talking to Tiffany's Casey, and he said, "You won't tell me you love me anymore. You did yesterday." And she said, "Well, I don't want to say that to you anymore, Lorne. I'm in rehab. I'm trying to love myself." And he was really angry because he demanded that she tell him she loved him every day.
Was that the Tiffany Casey?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I guess it depended on who the catfish was. If Ember was behind it, she would give him the "I love yous." Anybody else, Ramona? I mean, so I stand corrected that other people besides Winnie said "I love you" to Lorne, but again,
Not frequently
they're all
though,
still
not
angry.
like Winnie did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why Winnie, in a way, was his favorite, or he told Jamie that Winnie was his best relationship, and he really thought that, and it's because she told him that she loved him. She cried over him. She was desperate to get him back. She wanted his kidney, so a part of him would be in her. She desired him, and that's what Lorne wants, is to feel like somebody wants him.
And also, you got to remember.
I'm
Sorry.
sticking to my theory that it's because she was more on his level than the other catfishes. I really think there's something in that, because I've seen it happen. It happens in life. You know, people that generally fall for people, there's a special connection with people who are like them. That's the closest Lorne's ever got. Like,
I think he wants someone better than him.
well, everybody does, really. Everybody's attracted to somebody who's like, you know, the beautiful, you know, godlike figure. But you only really find a connection with somebody who's usually like you. And Lorne thought he'd found that, because he's not aware of this on a conscious level. But she's probably more dysfunctional than he is. And I've not listened to all of the stuff, so but from what I've heard, I think I've heard the highlights. Like, she was insane, and he's still. I think the thing that sums it up the best, more than anything, is she might have shit herself, but she's a special lady. That just about sums it up.
Yeah, but she was also a
nowhere
criminal.
to go from that.
She was a criminal. She was cruel to him. She was all of these different things.
Well, you're just describing
She was
him as
cruel
well.
to her daughter. She was
Yeah.
cruel to her grandchild.
Everything that she did, he's done.
Sexual deviant.
Yes.
You're describing Lorne.
I know, but I don't think he necessarily wanted that.
She was, way more sexually deviant than even Lorne. The kind of stuff Winnie said would turn your stomach.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, nobody like Lorne seeks out. If you think about somebody like, just say Lorne in his normal life, or somebody like him, they're not going to start. If someone would ask them, name your perfect partner, they'd come out with an Angelina Jolie type character. They wouldn't say, right, I wanted to shit herself consistently. I wanted to be farting all the time. I wanted to be a drug addict, disgusting, sexual deviant, liar. But that's what people like Lorne end up with. Because you mix within those circles, and you're on that level socially most of the time. You know, look at his best friends, Tony and Wendy. Now, we've never met these people, and God rest Tony's soul. But we've got a pretty good idea from the information that we've got what type of... And they didn't even like him.
Shin's Manhole.
Hello, Shin's Manhole. And hello, Shin's Manhole in the chat as well. It's good to see you.
She says that Lorne deserves someone better than him, remember? So, and he actually said that. So I don't think that...
Does. Of course he thinks here's that.
Here's what I think was going on with the reason why he was dealing with the bullshit, or as he would say, the stupid bullshit. And he also had great affection for Winnie. I think because it gave him control over her. I think because he felt like he was better than her. I think he felt like he could teach her. I think he thought he could rehabilitate her, and needed him for that. And Lorne wants that. Lorne wants control over these people. And I think that Winnie was the easiest person for him to control. Because how many times did we hear, Winnie, shut up, stop that? You know, a million times.
But I think he liked that. He likes being, he's not used to being in a position where he's actually the responsible one. And don't forget, it's all about control and power with Lorne. Just think about the chat log we'll probably get to at some point. He loved that because he was in control. He was the adult. He was the responsible one. He was in his element. Lorne in the wild, running free.
Right. Not with
He
not
wants
any
to
of the
be
other.
mothered, though. I don't think Lorne wants to take care of somebody or
He
teach.
wants a bit of that as well. But all men want
Yeah.
a little bit of that. Like they all want looking after, the food cooking for them and to tell them what to do when they get a sore or whatever. So I don't think that's specifically exclusive in Lorne. It's just he's more pathetic with it. He's just more wake me up in the morning. Not only is that pathetic, but it's a fucking 13-year-old girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, I don't know if this chat log is feeling more and more like punishment at this point. For me, I got to get back into it again.
Yeah. Speaking of which, can you see on my screen now, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I see it. Sorry.
I see it on the Skype screen. I don't know if anybody else can see it in the chat.
I think so. I think they can. I'll just keep my eye on the chat just to make sure that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So.
There it is.
Want to see my penis now? What a great way to start. I mean that's like such a common theme, isn't it? And this was just after some quite. Let's just have a very quick recap of where we're up to. Out of the three of them, which one of you sounds best? And he was trying to get her to say something quite sexual, but she obviously, for reasons that the decoy and whatnot. Oh dear, hang on a minute.
I just go up to the top of the page. It starts out with him being giving fatherly advice, almost, if you want to call it. No, you were there. He says, "Don't be failing in school." It's up. I mean, it's down now. And then right after that, he said, "Don't be failing in school, though, LOL." And then, "Were you anxious to see me tonight or my penis?" It's almost like he switched roles, like from paternal, fatherly to sexually abusive father. It's really fucked up right there.
I don't think the whole "don't be failing in school" was paternal concern. I think it was more, if you're failing in school, then you'll get the computer taken away, you'll get punished, and you won't be able to look at my penis. It's all self-serving and
okay. I should have got more context out of that.
I mean, that's what I think. He doesn't care if she fails school. He would have her drop out of school and go live with him if he could.
Were you more anxious to see me tonight or my penis? Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
let's think of it.
Yeah, what kind of response? Like, what's he gonna get if she says, "Oh, definitely a penis"? Like, where's he gonna go with that?
But why do you think my face is ugly? No, I don't know.
No, I think he'd say, "What do you want to do with it? What are you thinking about when you're thinking about my penis?"
Yeah, you're right. He'd just want to expand more and more, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, LOL. Both. Big smile. Smile, wobbly tooth smile. Want to see my penis now? LOL. K. And then, okay, so it takes him from 11/18/34 to 11/20/28. So 2 minutes of just revealing every angle.
I wish we had the camera footage.
Whatever he needs to do.
Why, Amanda James? Why do you need to see Lorne's penis from every angle?
Well, I have seen it from every angle already. There's nothing new there. I just want to see what he's doing. Is he sitting there squeaking, flopping it around? Oh, you think? Oh, yeah. Well, maybe he's like helicoptering, wiggling around.
That's a great question. What does it? You got to remember, the camera was separate. It was not an integral part of the computer screen itself. It was a separate component. So he could have easily just, I don't know, this is gross, but just bring the camera over to his lap and just tilt it down. But I think that wouldn't give him the best angle, I don't think. I think he would want to stand up.
He's not good at angles, Jen. He's not concerned with angles when it comes to pictures.
Well, the angle determines the heat of the meat, so that's what it comes down to. But the funny thing that I always love, he always does that. Was that good? Was that?
What a worthless question.
it's so.
She's gonna say, yeah. And what if she doesn't? What if she said, no, that wasn't good. I couldn't see it clearly enough. I really need to take a look at your urethra. I need to see it better.
It was so good. It satisfied my soul. Thank you. I need more. Please, more. And then she says K, and was that good? Big smile. And then he emoji bombs. I don't know what that is. And then hang on, precious, and eat coffee.
He always
Ooh,
seems
look.
to do that at silly
When things get
times.
hot and heavy, yeah, he goes. He leaves.
I wish he had a naked picture of you. So Lorne is just confessing that he wished he had child pornography at his disposal, which he probably does. But
Well, you know what's interesting? He cried recently in a Casey call. He was crying to her about the image, the child pornography image that perverted justice sent him, according to him, and how it was so horrible. He never wanted to see it. That happened at this time, according to him. So if he had just received a picture like that and it was so disgusting and disturbing that he threw it away, he deleted it, would he be asking Kayla for the same image?
yeah, I'd love to know the truth of that story. I mean, obviously, I don't wish to insult the intelligence of anybody listening, but just to reiterate, that story of Lorne's isn't accurate, but there is, like most of the things he comes out with, there is a basis of truth somewhere, like an atom. I want to know what that atom is. Is it that he somehow... Because it was, if I remember correctly, didn't... we're going to go back to discussing it again now. We even did a fucking full stream on this. But didn't he just out of the blue confess to Tiffany that he had someone had sent him a photograph? It was really strange.
Yeah, he said the picture, the child pornography picture.
Oh, that one.
He said, he said perverted justice must have sent it to him to to set him up so he would get more time added onto his sentence.
And they would
that was his story.
That's good. Like they couldn't identify where this stuff came from. It had to have come from someone familiar. And again, my theory is that he was communicating with people who have similar deviancy as he does, and taught him a lot of things. Make sure they erase their archives. Make sure that she calls someone else after you talk to her, so that if somebody hits redial, they won't hit your number. These are things that are well thought out. These are things that are tried and tested, that maybe have come as a result of mistakes that have been made in the past. He had to have been talking to someone, whether it be Tony, whether he didn't have many friends, but I have a feeling it was someone he met in the chat rooms, somebody who had the same kind of a mindset that he did, and and he's all worried that Kayla's going to get picked up by one of these guys, so he knows they're out there. So again, this is just speculation, but the picture had to come from somewhere. Yeah, and obviously it wasn't Xavier. Nobody's going to fuck up the prosecution like that.
It could be a complete fabrication, all of it.
That's another possibility. And to show that he wasn't into child pornography.
Yeah, because the Blue Boy call where he said, where he was talking about the 9-year-old girl or whatever, how old she was. Like, that was just a very fucking strange thing to come out with at that time to try and say that he was innocent. And it's like...
one of us.
It's kind of, it could be a similar goof, whatever you want to call it.
From what I understand, they didn't find any picture like that on his computer because he would have had an additional charge.
That's where I kind of, maybe they didn't get him for possession. Maybe one photograph being sent and deleted right away was not a strong enough case. But they certainly looked into his chat log and they found out he wanted to make his own child porn. So, and maybe that inspired them to hit him up with that superseding indictment, something like that. Okay, this guy's into porn, obviously. Let's check the chat log, see if it's consistent with that. Yes, he wants to make his own. Okay, now let's get him for production rather than possession, which is a weaker case, because they can prove that that he can prove that he deleted it right away. If in fact that's what he did, I think that's finding that may have put them on the trail of production of child porn charge. It could very well have been that they hated him.
Well, I don't think he would talk to other
No,
like
I was going to say that, Amanda
pedophiles,
James.
other men
Okay,
who were
then the question
interested.
is, I'm glad you said that. Then the question is, how did he know all of these countermeasures? How
I'll
did
give
he
you
know
my
all
theory.
Okay.
I think he learned it from Molly. I think Molly taught him. Because
Meaning he got caught and he figured a
no,
way
I
to
think
get around
she
it?
knew how to delete her archives. She was a young girl who was talking to an older man. She knew if her parents went looking, she would get in trouble.
And she was
She knew
probably
how to
talking
delete.
to other men, and maybe
Probably,
at that time
yeah.
or before as well, because girls like that who are vulnerable generally do that.
I think she
Could
probably
be.
taught him to delete his archives. I think she's probably the one who taught him like the rose
thing?
and all the stupid smiley things. Those are all teenage girl things, and she was a teenage girl.
That's a
I
big
think
mystery.
he learned a lot from her.
I wish we knew that. Oh, Blue Boy, I didn't know that he was sending you penis pics. Is that? I know they're burned into your head, but I thought you kind of like had him on a good leash where he couldn't mention the dogs because you hated dogs. He couldn't love bomb you.
He couldn't send nude pictures to Casey.
He could or could not.
He could not. His phone was being monitored.
Okay, all right. I'm just wondering if poor Blue Boy had to go through that.
No,
Okay.
no, he didn't.
Okay.
Anyway, we could maybe even do another stream at one point going in about that, because it is a very intriguing part of the Lorne story. I think the picture is one of those little mysteries that we like to try and unravel. So Kayla's response to the picture, which I'm sure from an evidential point of view they're very interested in, is, oh my God, what I wouldn't want to take one. Why not, lol? 'Cause be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, precious. Everything about you is beautiful, at least in my eyes. Where does that come from? Is that... Is he
I love
deliberately
it when men
trying
say that
to...
to me.
Is he deliberately trying to insult her, to put her down, to make her feel... Or is it just a silly... I think it's just a silly gaff from Lorne, this. Like, stupidity.
No, I think it's nobody else will think you're as beautiful as I do. Nobody can love you as much as I do. Yeah, he doesn't want her to think she's too beautiful, or she could get any 13-year-old boy in the world.
Nobody's going to be as nice to you about it as I am right now. I want to decipher those emojis. We got a rose, a winky face, a kiss, and I think that's a giant. Well, he went crazy on that one. Everything about you is uppercase. Beautiful.
He loves the emoji.
At least in my eyes.
Yeah, maybe.
I know he did the rose kiss smiley emojis when he was texting Casey too. He never grew out of the emoji face.
Oh yeah. Except for they were real smiley faces.
Would you take one for me, please? No. You've been blown out there, Lorne.
That's good. No, that's solicitation right there. As an admission. Okay, sorry. No, okay. We can wait until we're together. Then I could take one of us together. Are we getting into this now? Does that sound good? Kissy face. You know, every time he does this kissy face, it reminds me of Samuel from The Creature.
Oh, yeah.
Kissing his girlfriend every 5 minutes. Hold on, honey. I gotta go take on this healthy, efficient monster.
You know how he always does the kissy face when he takes pictures, when he takes selfies for his current girlfriend? He's always got the kissy face going on, the duck face. Like a teenage girl. Lorne he's simultaneously an elderly woman and a teenage girl in a 50-year-old man's body.
It looks more like in the 60s, actually. But
I wonder if it's even dawning on Lorne at this point that he's like, does it even register in his brain of the offence he's talking about there? I don't think it is. I think he's just he's just going in the flow mode, isn't he? Which for Lorne, flow mode is not creative in in the artistic sense. It's how can I molest a child? That's his flow mode. But I don't think he realizes the ramifications, and it's funny because this line may have helped him to get some extra time in prison. Because as well as the camera, they've picked up on the fact that he was planning to take photos of them together. So this is just another nail in his coffin.
That's the difference. If he had asked just for photographs of her, that'd be one thing. But he's asking for both of them together. I assume their faces together. He's the best weapon for the prosecution. He really is. He just gathers that. He just puts evidence together for you, doesn't he? Oh. I mean, I don't think that any careful child predator would want his photograph taken with his victim. I mean, in their face, identifiable areas. I just don't think so. He's so clueless.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He's a dumb.
Agrees with the we'll take the group shot together. Cool.
I can't hear any
cool.
audio for some reason. Just one second.
And does that sound good? Yeah. And Lorne just gets giddy. I could hear his squeaks.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna have to scroll it.
Oh, what's happened here? Andrew, you just broke everything. Yeah, I don't know what I've done there. This is a bit strange.
Sound is back. Oh, NWA. I would.
Oh, we're back now.
NWA skeptic. I would love if he went to trial. That would be the trial of the century. That would be right up there with the Scopes monkey trial. It would be awesome.
Shin, can you hear me, dude?
Yes, I can.
Oh, right. We had a problem with the audio then. I think the headphones. I think the batteries on my headphones were running out, and it created a bit of a issue. Right. Anyway, let's. Oh, so just to sort of when we were talking about him nailing himself, look at that.
Yeah. He only brought that camera to pawn it. He had no intention of creating child pornography. It just goes to show, going back to the lawsuit that he wrote while he was in prison, he never even glanced at this chat log to see what evidence they had against him or remind himself what he said. He made such a big deal out of that camera and how they threatened to put him away for attempted production of child pornography. And that was so unfair because he never planned to do that. He literally says, oh, in the chat log, can I take a picture of my penis in your vagina? What better proof do they need? And what possible defense could he have for that?
Yeah, couple that with a camera, 2 cameras. He had one on his phone as well. He somehow thinks that having the camera on his phone exonerates him from having the camera in his glove compartment. It's weird the way he thinks.
You know what we was talking about before about does he understand the legal ramifications of what he suggested there when he says, can I take a photo of us together? And here he says, just not show our faces on it. Which is something you've picked up on before, Shin. So he says, can I take one of my penis in your vagina? And then he says, here, just not show our faces on it. So, but what's interesting about that is, does he somehow think that if there's a photograph of them together and he just happens to miss off the faces, if it's used in evidence, somehow they won't know it's him? Like, right. But of course, Or does he think it's just going to be circulated on the dark web or something? It's just I
Well,
suppose
again,
it's him half-baked security measures, isn't it? You know.
I just can't accept that he thought of this himself. I can't think, he throws away security measures with no problem at all. And somehow this is pretty, this is actually, if you want to call that good advice, don't show your faces in this thing. I mean, actually, Wes and Geron, that was a great conversation involving that. But he knows well enough, but I don't think he's smart enough to figure that out on his own, though.
What, not to include their faces in the picture?
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
I don't know.
You want the pictures of them without the penis and the vagina and without naked, them together as a love couple. And then he'd want the penis and the vagina pictures. But by the way, how do you get your face down there anyway when you got a penis and a vagina? I don't get that. But this is learned behavior. This is not something that he. I don't think he's capable of studying this stuff and understanding it and then applying it in real life. I really don't. I think he's been. Talking to people.
See, I don't think he would talk to another man for any reason. And he didn't identify himself with those scumbags. I mean, look at the guy who was talking dirty to his niece, and what a piece of shit and what a scumbag. Lorne didn't see himself as one of those kind of men. He was different. I think he would be disgusted by those kind of men. He wouldn't talk to them. So I'm not sure where he would learn these things.
Again, I think it could be anonymous people. I think it could be Tony even. Who knows? I mean, I hate to talk ill of the dead like that, but Tony didn't exactly, at least according to Lorne, wasn't exactly the most honorable person in the world either. In terms of actually, it's funny because when he was dealing with the Molly situation, the specific advice that Lorne said Tony gave him was, wait for 3 years. It's okay to talk to her until then. So Tony even thought talking to her is okay. If
that's even true.
Again,
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that he even told Tony about Molly. Just like I don't believe that Tony went along with him when he went to see Molly at the fair. I wonder if he just added Tony, because he adds Tony into all his made up stories. Remember the call where he was talking to Ramona and he said he had a date with Jenny from Walmart or something, but he couldn't call her. Tony had her number. Tony set up the date. Tony always was like a matchmaker in Lorne's stories, or he hooked up with a girl at Tony's house. Tony's always involved. I think he might have just added Tony into the Molly story to make himself look less bad, I guess. Even Tony agreed that she was a good friend. She even called Tony. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I just wish we knew this guy back then.
I want one of you and me with clothes on too, so I can look at whenever I want. Look at what? So I can look at whenever I want to. Also, okay. That's a bit
rolls
strange.
off the tongue.
You and me with clothes on too.
So he wants one of this terrible image that you've got of him, doing that to a child, and then just a happy one of them together with clothes on, maybe at a restaurant. Look at what the fuck. Very strange. I love you, precious. Oh, fuck off, dude. I love you.
How it's really obtuse can you be to think that you can go to a restaurant with a 13-year-old girl and be lovey-dovey in public?
Hang on a minute. You will have to keep that one you'll have hidden. What? Hang on. You have to keep that one that you'll have hidden extremely well on your computer, though. Now, I assume he's talking about the child porn picture. So,
Child porn.
The bell just went off.
I think he's talking about any picture of the two. Actually, I think he might be referring to the fully clothed one. He's going to have a copy of it, and she's going to have one too. But she needs to keep it hidden on her computer because her parents, even if they're fully clothed, her parents are going to say, "Hey, who the fuck is that 40-year-old man you're holding hands with in this picture, Kayla?"
Yeah.
So they would both need to be hidden.
What does extremely well hidden on a computer mean? Does he put it in a
Means
file
in
and
your
the
Gmail.
file says do not open private?
Well, it says here, I'll send it to your Gmail so that you can keep it hidden in there, okay? Hide it in
Really gets off
Gmail.
on
Why
that.
send it?
Really
Why
gets-
send it to her at all? Why-
Because she wants to look at it all day long.
Oh
She wants
dear.
to look at her boyfriend.
Well, surely
Lo-
the solution to
Lorne
this
is
problem
convinced
would be
that
don't fucking
Lorne is
send it her.
convinced that if he stares at his girlfriend's picture for 2 hours, she does the same thing.
Remember, he also wanted to leave a pair of his underwear with her because she will sleep with them. I don't know. Again, it's a teenage girl thing. You know, a teenage girl, they'll sleep in their boyfriend's t-shirt or their boyfriend's sweatshirt or something, and you know, all that puppy love shit. That's what he's thinking. He wants Kayla to cuddle up with his stretched out Walmart Fruit of the Loom underwear every night. Of course, she's going to want to look at a picture of the two of them all the time. She needs that.
And from a criminal standpoint, somebody who's trying to cover their tracks, why would you put that picture in her hands at all? Why would you risk that?
Well, look at this, right? Where I hide it, I don't know. Great advice, Lorne. If nobody but you knows your password to your Gmail, then it should be all right if you just leave it in there. Are you missing?
He loves his control. He loves his control.
Look at that.
I think he's oh, there it is. I was gonna say it's been a while since he's presented his penis.
Wish you were here. I wish you were here. Then nobody could bug us and we could spend the whole night naked in bed. Oh, Christ. What would you want to do if I was there with you right now? I don't know. I would probably be kind of shy because we haven't met for real. I know. But we're going to. So get out of being shy, because when we do meet for real, we might not have much time together to do the stuff we want to, because you'll have to sneak so we can do it and be together. That's kind of an interesting line. He's kind of telling her what to do. Basically, what he's saying is you best give me what I want. Basically, I want you to permit to being raped, so I can get what I want to out of you before I have to leave and avoid the authorities.
Yeah, he's saying don't waste our time on being shy or trying to get comfortable with me. That's a waste of time. We don't have time for that. You get 5 minutes with Bud and then your clothes come off.
He's got everything regimented. To think that this is just 9 days from the time he started talking to her. And if you add up the hours, say 2 hours, 18 hours later, maybe at the most, and he's already making these demands. He's already making these 6 scenarios.
And her comfort. Yeah, and her comfort means 0 to him.
No, just get out of
He's
here.
literally saying that.
Because you'll have to sneak so we can do it and be together. Oh, my God. What a control freak.
Yeah. Okay, so if I was there with you right now, what would you want to do? I don't know. Be naked with me? Yeah. Why did you unload the hearts? I liked that. What does that mean?
I can't really see it. Andrew, can you scroll it up even further rather than just on the bottom there? There we go. I was right there with you. What did you do? Let's see it. Be naked with me? Yeah. Why did you unload the hearts? I liked them.
So she just deleted them. She just put hearts and deleted them. I'm just wondering how. I don't suppose it matters really. It's just how the Yahoo chat thing works.
I don't know. That looks like some kind of graphic or something.
Oh, in case your mum or dad came in, I don't know. It's making me buggy. Miss my penis yet? What does he want to? Well, I know what he wants to. Hang on a minute. Has he just? Lol. Is that a yes or no? Huh? Do you miss my penis yet? What does he? I know what he's after, but
cute.
I still can't quite get my head around the mentality of this. I'm trying to put, we know Lorne pretty well, don't we? He's come out with the most ridiculous things we've ever heard. But like, it's still kind of difficult to grasp this, really. What's he trying to get?
I think he's just trying to be cute and playful. Do you miss my penis? Yeah. It's just a way to pull the conversation back to his dick. And he thinks he's being cute and quirky. And he wants her to say, yeah, I always miss your penis.
And he is succeeding. He's got me.
You miss
I want to
his
see it
penis,
again.
Jen?
I want to see it.
I do, to be fair. Do you want to see it again? Is that what I'm asking you? Do you want to see it again? Is what I'm asking you? Oh, right, okay.
What is behind this? Why is he so chomping at the bit to show his dick as often
You
as
know
he
why?
can? What the hell?
You said it yourself. He's an exhibitionist.
Exhibition disorder. There's a little difference.
Yeah,
He gets
and
off.
I really think that he gets off way more showing himself than he would from looking at her. Think of there must be hundreds of pictures of his penis that he sent to the catfish over the years. Hundreds.
Yeah.
And not just his dick. I mean, he has pictures bent over with his legs open. You know, he'll bring his full-length mirror out into the kitchen and prop it against his stove and go all out, get the lighting and bend over to take pictures of all kinds of body parts that nobody wants to see. He loves showing himself off.
But I've never seen such a single-minded purposeness before. I've never seen somebody who's so obsessed, and that's all. It seems like it's the only reason why he's talking to her, to show his dick. And they could have a little conversation, ancillary conversation about something else or unrelated, but he'll always bring it back to this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no segue to it either. I'm going to show my dick now. Please. Can I show you my dick? Can I show you my dick? You might as well just say that. I want to show you my dick now. Now rather than do you want to see it? Do you miss it? Do you want to see it? No, just be honest about it. Say, I want to show my dick.
I think it's part of fulfilling his needs, because most males, or all males really that are healthy, all humans have got this need for. Let's talk about men. It's very different in men than it is in women, but there's this need to, have some form of sexual contact at some points, and this is where the incel thing comes from. It can be, if not dealt with in the correct way, it can become very destructive in males if not channeled correctly. Lorne needs some form of positive sexual contact in his life. This is as far as he's getting, showing his dick to a child online. So he needs that kind of excitement and that kind of that end goal of getting what he wants, and this is just him getting that. This is just him just having fun with it, isn't it? It's like, oh, I've got a girl, what can I do? I can get her to say something, some kind of positive reinforcement. This is his sex life at this point. It's ridiculous, it's ludicrous. This is why it's so funny. And this is why we like it so much, because there's nothing quite like this. It's and it's because he's such a stupid character as well. He's so silly that it manifests in these ridiculous comments that are just so funny and out there. that they defy logic. You know, even after all this time, we're still struggling to get our head around it. But for Lorne, this is him getting off, isn't it? You know, do you want to, just
I think that's what
thinking
it totally
the
is.
thoughts
Yeah.
of.
Did you
God,
hear on the robot call? It was in the robot text or something. He was furious because the robot didn't look at the picture of his dick
Oh
that he
yeah,
sent her.
yeah,
She
compliment
didn't
it.
acknowledge it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
scrolled right past my cock because you've got a statue of Will's cock up your ass, or what? I can't remember the exact quote, but it was probably akin to that.
Yeah, he uses
But
C word a lot too, and that.
yeah, yeah.
Do you miss my? To me, it's so excessive that it makes you wonder how can he contain it in his real life. If he is this out of control with having to expose himself online, how can that not carry over to his real life? How could he not expose himself to somebody in real life?
Well, that's where the catfish come in, I think.
Yeah, maybe
They
that's his
satisfy
outlet.
that urge.
Maybe if they never came along, he'd be doing that.
Maybe because
doing what? Sorry, I missed
agree.
that.
Showing his dick to people.
You
In
mean
real
like
life.
flashing in public? You mean?
Yeah, or
No, he's not got
there
the
was a
balls
case-
to do that.
there was a
Plus,
case I had,
he
Andrew,
lives in the middle of nowhere.
I had a friend in high school. We played football, baseball together. Great guy, but kind of strange, really puritanical. I think a lot of religious reasons behind it. But as we got older, we all got married, and we had him. I had him as a house guest, and it turns out that he was exposing himself to my wife when I wasn't there, and he made it seem like it was a very like he kept his bedroom door open and he was on top of his bed with an erection, things like that. And she would shut the door and then she would come back upstairs and then the door would be open again. And then talking to my other friend, I found out he was doing this with his wife too. And so at this point, we just disconnected with the guy. We didn't really want to have that talk with him. It was just too weird. The girls were freaked out. A few years later, I passed the bar exam. I'm in my office. And I'm in Boston. Now he's about 80 miles away from me at this point. And he comes in and he needs me to handle a case for him. And apparently he was fired at Home Depot. And because of multiple instances of exposing himself. And he wanted me to represent him in an unfair discharge case against them. Wanted me to fight this when I had personal knowledge about who he was. And at that time was the first time I had to confront him with it and say, well, listen, I don't think I can handle this case. I have a personal problem with it. And I went on to explain, what happened with my wife and also what happened to Jim's wife. And we had our problems with you, just so you know. And he just walked out quietly. I never saw him the rest of my life after that.
Wow.
So there's some compulsion with these guys. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And that guy was totally normal, very popular in school too.
I was going to say, it sounds like some kind of compulsion or like addiction. And I mean, look at Lorne, look at his compulsion. He knows that any picture he sends is going to end up on the internet, or at the very least, it'll end up shared with people that he doesn't want to see it. He would send pictures to Casey, and her dad would get a hold of them. Remember that? When Joey was playing Casey's dad, he'd get a hold of Lorne's nude pictures. So he knew it was dangerous to send these pictures, and he still sent them. Not only would they be shared, but also he'd get in trouble with probation. He wasn't allowed to send nude pictures via probation, but he would do anything he could to get around that and send them anyway. In fact, I think Blue Boy and Reborn were doing a stream, and they mentioned that Lorne wanted Jamie to take pictures of Lorne's dick that he had sent her in the past and send them to Casey. So he wanted to show himself that badly that he wanted the robot to share his pictures with Casey. I think there was one even, he took a picture, I think Blue Boy's talked about this, but he took a picture of his erection through his jeans and sent that to Casey, knowing that he was being monitored and probation could see that. And of course, they would frown on it. But he still just had to show off that erection in any way he could.
It's like irresistible. They can't resist the impulse. They need to, but the thing is, I'm trying to get, and I'm sure there's an answer to this. Anyone knows in the chat, what is the excitement? Is the excitement in the shock aspect, or are they misinterpreting the shock and thinking that somehow, sounds of delight? I don't know.
It's always confused me as well, dude. I don't know. I've always wondered this. Like, what do you get out of it? What sexual gratification do you get? I think, what I've noticed as well, like, as I've got older and more mature and kind of more experienced and whatnot, you start to learn things about your desires as a man, like, and how you feel about women. I consider myself a normal guy when it comes to attraction to women. I don't have any peculiar... Well, I don't think so, at least. I've only got myself as a point of reference. But when you get older, and you've talked about this shit, even if you see, like, an attractive girl, if you perv over them in your eyes and you go, yeah, you're kind of assaulting them in a way. I don't mean to... I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anybody who's looking at girls. Listen, let's not take this too seriously. But you shouldn't really overindulge. It's not healthy and it's not respectful, and it's like, but you only sort of, like, when you're younger, you just don't care because you don't have that mental discipline, and it's all about behaving in an integral way. Some people never that doesn't apply to them. They just don't learn those lessons, and they just go down this road of kind of just not caring. Right, I'll show you. I'll just flop my dick out. You know what I mean? Have a bit of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. I think some people are just fucking perverts. And it's a little bit like people don't know how to manage their own impulses and their own... There's nothing wrong with looking at a girl and finding them attractive. We're genetically fucking designed to do that. Obviously younger ones, there's something wrong there. But, like, there's nothing wrong, but it's learning, discipline yourself and what's right. And you know what's right. Sometimes you might need a bit of guidance. You might decide after a certain incident, I need to do better than this. And talking about, your friend, dude, it sounds like he's just a complete creep. And unfortunately...
Yeah, I think a religion had a lot to do with that. I think religious suppression had a lot to do with that.
Yes, of course. That's a big thing. Big thing.
Yeah. It's just, it's the part of exhibitionist disorder is that, and again, if you go to a website, I'm actually going to post one right here. One of the things that's common among these people who have that is that they don't have normal sexual relationships, or they cannot perform in real life. And this is the only sexual release they get.
Yeah.
So, you got that.
And that's an aspect of Lorne. We know that he's not getting laid like he says he is. We know he's not a male slut. He may even be a virgin at this point if he was at this point, he still is. Let's not go into that, but some people believe he is. There's a fucking good cause for it, don't get me wrong. So, of course, that's all he's got. And let's not forget, how far he went with Molly, we don't know. What he said about... I think something happened on camera, because I don't think he would have said that if he didn't. Maybe more has happened. I don't think he had any physical contact with her, in my opinion. We don't know, because all we've got is for intelligence is Lorne's mouth, and we know how unreliable that is. So this is kind of interesting, this bit here. What kind of feeling do you get when you see my penis? What kind of feeling do you get inside? Like,
that's classic.
He doesn't get a response for 9 seconds, right? And then comes back with what kind of feeling do you get inside? It's really the same question. But he's so interested. Yeah. He so wants to know what's going on that he has to word it a different way and try and be more specific.
That's fucking stupid. What kind of feeling do
Well,
you get when
another
you see
reason.
my penis? What kind of feeling do you get inside? Kind of funny feeling. Like you want to touch it? That's the feeling she gets inside, that she wants to touch it? It doesn't make any sense.
And it has to be about his penis. It can't be about penises in general. What do you think about penis? It has to be about his penis. And one of the other reasons why I think that he has exhibitionist disorder, and the symptom of that is this is his only sexual release, even if he had a choice to be with someone, is because the way he reacts in some of these catfish calls to hearing either Dan or someone sending dick pics to his girl. He gets more upset about that than he does about them actually having actual sex. It's like that's his realm. You can't butt into my realm. So I'm beginning to think more and more that's the only sexual release he has, and he's got to expose himself. Even when he talks about two people making love, he says he describes a scenario where two people are naked and standing in front of each other and staring at each other. I don't know how many times I've made love like that, but hey, before we do this, can you stand up? Let me look at you. And stare at each other. It just right there's so many clues.
It's really creepy. Well, we know he thinks phone sex is sex.
Well, of course,
That's the
to
other
him
one.
it is.
Phone sex and sending naked.
Go get a condom. I'm not doing that right now.
I already took care of that problem, whatever he says.
Stop with the sexual shit.
Love it. Okay, Kayla, trying to change the subject. Hey, where's Bud? I'm sick of this shit. Talk about your dog for a while. Oh, he was posing for me. Yup, he's a little show-off. Well, talk about exhibitionism.
Oh my god.
Remember last night when I told you... Oh, Jesus Christ. I was wondering what you was reacting to then, Amanda James, but now I know. Remember last night when I told you I'd show you the white stuff that comes out of my penis? Yeah. Do you want to see it still? I don't know. Do you know this is a lot disturbing than a lot more of the other stuff, I think. Like, this takes it from soft porn to hardcore porn. Of course, it's all hardcore when you're talking about a child. But the silly flashing and, do you like my penis or my balls more? You can kind of laugh at it. I don't find any humor in this at all. This is fucking disgusting. I don't get
it's dark web porn.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, you feel the same way as I do, and I'm sure Amanda James does as well, and everybody listening. It takes it to a new level. This and I'm kind of trying to figure out his psyche at this point, because most of Lorne I can figure out, and I can figure out why he does what he does and how silly he is and all this. I don't really get what's he trying to do here. Is he I'm not quite sure.
He wants her to watch him.
Masturbate.
Right. He loves to show off.
And he said he never did that. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes,
he did, but he's a liar. And Winnie tried to read this exact quote to him, and he just screamed at her and dismissed her as crazy and fucked up, and he didn't listen to any of it. But I'm sure he did. I'm sure that's exactly what he was doing at this very moment.
I think, thinking about it now, right, we was talking about him kind of the exhibitionism, the flashing, is his sexual release. This is taking that to another level. So he's going to, tug himself off, and, the white stuff's going to come out. That's as good as he can get whilst Kayla's watching him. That's as good as he can get without actually physically assaulting her. And I think that if he gets her, and I think that he's not, when I say he's not thinking about it carefully enough, he doesn't care, but he doesn't care how bad this actually is. You know what I mean? Because it's like he's going to get himself off. And I also think it's kind of a risky move, because he knows how timid Kayla is. she's never shown much enthusiasm for his sexual innuendos. But this is pretty out there. Like, can you imagine? Your average 13-year-old probably, I'm not sure really, but has probably not watched a video of somebody like Lorne jizzing himself, right? She's not going to have seen that before. And then, but I suppose Lorne thinks he's got her on the hook. So, do you know what I mean? It's like kind of a risky strategy, isn't it? Do you think?
Well, yeah, and if Lorne had half a brain, he would see that, because she just tried to change the subject and talk about his dog.
Yeah.
So he just either can't take a hint or a clue, or he saw it, he understood that she was trying to change the subject, and he didn't care. He's gonna,
But he's too fired up. He can't.
Yeah.
right, he's gonna steer the subject
wound
back
up.
to what he wants.
Yeah,
I think that's it. He doesn't care about anything. He's not thinking about anything. He's not thinking about risks of losing Caleb, scaring her off, of getting caught, anything. He just wants to get to where he wants to go. He wants her to watch him do it, because that's another thing he likes to show off. He sent lots of pictures of the aftermath of his romantic escapades to the catfish. He'll send pictures of filled condoms and all kinds of gross stuff.
Gross. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If I remember correctly, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I remember he did something on the counter or something years ago. I can't remember what that was.
Yeah, that was a lie though. I think they told him to come on the counter and he couldn't do it or something, so he like poured milk on the counter and took a picture of it and said, "There you go, baby."
Right.
My God.
Well,
what does he want her to tell him about what she's thinking about? Have we gotten to that yet?
I'm sure he wants to hear something
never
graphic.
mind.
He
We're
wants
past
to
that.
hear.
Oh, you mean the feeling?
Yeah.
What were you referring to, dude, specifically?
That what kind of feeling do you get inside when you're looking at my penis, and what the fuck is he looking for?
I think
She's 13 years old. How much
dirty.
can she articulate?
Isn't it just some form of positive reinforcement? Something.
That's completely what it is.
He
Completely.
wants jerk off fuel. He wants her to say something gross, like
Yeah. Wants something in the
you know,
wank
I
bag,
can't
as we
even
say
say it.
over here.
He wants to talk. He wants someone else to talk about his penis besides him.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just had a thought, and I don't know what this says about me, but I'd love to see the chat log between him and Molly. And when I say I don't know what this says about me, it's a real person, so it seems kind of, I don't think I'd actually enjoy it like I do with this. This is great because it's not real. There's no real girl there.
Yeah.
But to see the interactions with a real person would be very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, I'd get lower than that, Andrew. I'd like to. I wish that she had said yes. I want to see the white stuff, and I would love to see what would happen after that. I guarantee a few lines down to be. Oh, sorry. Oh, I tried.
Yeah.
Well, Sherry Twist did not want to see the white stuff. Doesn't paid enough for that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you remember Do you remember one when he was in a battle royal with Dan, and he said to Dan, "There are a lot of people obsessed over my cock."
Mm-hmm.
Remember he said that?
I do, yeah.
He thinks that that's a good thing. He thinks that's people are impressed. People are like salivating over it, not pointing at it and laughing at it.
Yeah,
He really
because he's stupid. It's just like he thought that Sylvester Stallone and Shania Twain were listening to him read his chat log because they were fans of his. They were interested in watching his redemption, and they admired him. He's insane. I do remember that though when he said, because Dan was calling Lawrence penis an Italian pepper, right? He was saying, yeah, you've got a tiny little penis, and Lawrence said, "There's a lot of people obsessing over my cock, Dan." And the whole fight was because Winnie was in love with Dan. So I always wished Dan said, "Well, your girlfriend's obsessed with my cock, Lorne," because she was. Right, because that's all Winnie ever talked about.
But the idea that he thinks think about it, Andrew. Our dick pics are out there like this, as ridiculous as they look, as his does. Will we be like, oh my God, I'd hide my head forever. I think he really likes the idea that his dick pics are out there and that they're accessible to anyone. I think he likes that.
Well, yeah, because I think that for him, it's another form of some form of sexual gratification. He's not had a sexual relationship. He's not had that excitement and the bragging to the friends and all that kind of thing. So once you've been with a few girls and that, you become less immature. It becomes, and then it. But with him, he's still in that mode, isn't he? He's still, oh, my dick's out there. It's ridiculously mature. And I think you're right. I think he does get something out of it. I think that's just him.
The other thing I find that is so ironic in this situation is he's teaching Kayla about sex when I believe even a 13-year-old would know more than he does about sex. Even if Kayla was real, she would know more than he does. And it's just so funny with this hubris, this Dunning-Kruger effect that he has.
Yeah, like when he's trying to explain to her own anatomy.
Yeah.
See those two things that look like lips?
Most 13, 14-year-olds, I remember when I was, I'd say, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, exactly. He's one in a million, all right. Right, we're gonna have to cut it a bit short today, guys. So everybody who's come by, sorry about the lateness, and I'm sorry about the mishap where there was no sound in the middle and whatnot. So apologies for that. But we're only we're not even. I think we're about a quarter of the way through. Maybe just under a third. So it's amazing how much more we've actually got to get through on this thing. And every time we do it, we come across something interesting that sparks new debate. Or I think it's interesting to learn as well. I thought about this, like, what the fuck am I doing with all this stuff? But you do occasionally learn things about the human psyche. People like Lorne, sort of the male kind of. Because the thing is, people like Lorne are a big problem. In case, obviously that's the whole point of Why to Catch a Predator. But I'm talking more of a sort of, not just the people that commit criminal offences, males who are sexually frustrated. It's a huge problem, and it's a difficult thing. Lorne is the accumulation of all of that. And to sort of learn, why does he do certain things? Why does he say that? Why does he have these impulses? I find it quite interesting, actually. And we've got more info on this guy than anyone. It's unbelievable. Yeah. He's a case study without realising it. He doesn't get it, does he? He doesn't get it. That's what's funny, like, all this interest. He's still... he'll never be able to figure out why... I think it just baffles him, doesn't it? But sometimes, like the whole Lorne reality show thing and all that, where he thought the attention was positive, that was very, very funny.
Well, that's because he's not used to other perspectives. He's completely alone in this life.
Yeah, no, of course.
His experience is extremely limited.
No empathy.
Yeah.
I read a letter that he wrote to someone, I can't remember who, but he had written a letter and he was talking about his sort of internet infamy, and he said it might have been a letter to YouTube actually, demanding that they take down all the channels and videos about him. But he said something like, there are thousands of weirdos obsessed with me, some in a good way and some in a bad way.
Yeah.
And he really thinks that.
Good way.
Right. Yeah. Well, they admire him for his singing, maybe, he thinks, or...
It's like him saying he's got supporters, like he used to say in his old videos. I can't think of one person who supported him. I really can't. in any of those old videos. I mean, if anything, people were stroking him. If anything, hidden meanings to what they were saying, usually references to the chat log. He took that as good faith, compliments.
Mm.
But beyond that, I don't think anybody said, "Yeah, you go, Lorne. You live your life, buddy."
I do remember when he was reading the chat log with Debbie, Ember did a stream and she said, Lorne is reading the chat log and we're posting them on this channel. So, and we read him the comments. So leave him an encouraging comment so he'll keep reading the chat log. So there were people in those comments saying like, great job, Lorne. I'm really seeing a different side of you now. Yeah. Shania Twain wanted to write a song about him.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that song, by the way.
He told Emma that Sylvester Stallone might have to come to Maine and meet his mom and his probation officer. He wants to work with him that bad.
Meet my handlers.
Oh, jeez. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's almost... You almost feel like Lorne's so, like, deluded that it's wrong to kind of poke fun at him so much that he's kind of this... Of course it isn't, but I do get those feelings like this guy's...
Yeah,
this
it's
guy's...
like you're shooting at an unarmed man.
It's like the divvy kid at school. It's like, leave him alone, but...
Andrew,
it must be so terrible. Huh?
You should be coming up this summer. You should be coming over this summer. This time we'll go up to Maine. We'll see if we can grab Roy for an interview.
Oh, yes.
I think he'll do it for $1,000. I really do. I really want to.
He'll do it for a lot less than that, dude.
Oh, I think he'd do it for a beer.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't hold back either. That'd be the good thing.
He'd probably do it for a stubbed out cigarette.
Yeah.
Well, being straight up with him too, not trying to pretend to be a catfish, telling him who we are, and wanting, to know how this has affected his life.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. But we should definitely take a trip up there and see if we can find him.
Oh yeah. Yep. I don't think I've got a funny feeling I'll end up in Maine again at some point one day, but we will see.
Will.
We will see when that happens. Right. Okay, guys.
Don't
Thank
fight
you very much for joining us. I hope you've had fun. I don't know when we're going to be back, but yeah. So thank you to Amanda, James, and Shim for joining me. It's great to have a bit of fun at Lorne's expense and Lorne's silly penis comments, of course. Even if there's no intrigue, you can just have a laugh. So there's always something to do with this. So yeah, guys, take it easy. I'll let you know when we'll be streaming again, and